Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Guy. Oh wait, this isn't the 8-Bit Guy. Hello everybody, and I have a bit of an interesting video today. I have lost the footage to my introduction to this video, but I'm gonna redo it. If you're wondering why there's duct tape on this machine, is because I have already finished fixing this machine. The machine is already fixed. I just haven't gotten the adhesive at the moment, and so duct tape is the current solution. Yes, I've lost the intro footage, so we're gonna redo this. So first off, what we did was we opened her up, replaced the logic board, and I did this off camera. I added an extra 8 gigabytes of RAM, so this thing has 16 gigs of RAM. And at some other point, so this is part one, some other point we're going to be adding or making it to 32 gigs of RAM, adding an SSD, and that's about it. Then this project will be done. So a couple of pointers to go off of. If you're a beginner doing this, I recommend following someone who's a bit more experienced than me, because my recording of this was kind of iffy. But it's all good, you know. We got her good. So let me give you some tips. You're gonna need a T10 torque screwdriver, you're going to need a T20 torque screwdriver, and that's about it. If you want to do any work on the logic board itself, you're going to need a T5, and I believe that's it. And what I mean by that is, if you have a logic board off of eBay that did not come with a Wi-Fi card, and you have one that has a Wi-Fi card, then the screwdriver you need to get it off is a T5. I didn't realize mine didn't have a Wi-Fi card, and I had to go pull it off of my old board, so yeah. Basically what we're going to be doing here is, again, replacing the board, and that's it. This is a late 2012 iMac, mid-specs, not the highest, not the lowest. So yeah, we got some good stuff here. And for anyone wanting to do this on their own, and I know I just kind of said this a couple minutes ago, but don't go into this with the expectation that it's going to be alright, because chances are it won't. These things are horrible. These things are horrible machines to take apart. Follow, honestly, if I don't mean to be a plug here, I'm not sponsored, but I would follow iFixit. I would either follow iFixit or Luke Miani. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It's not like he's done a full teardown tutorial video, but he tears down these iMacs almost every video, and it's just kind of basic knowledge at this point. So I'd go watch any of those guys, or just search up logic board replacements. I'm sure you'll find a video for your iMac, of course. I would also be careful with the power supply. Make sure the Mac is discharged. The best way to do that, yeah, you're gonna need tape, 3mm double-sided sticky tape, or adhesive strips for the Mac, or you'll end up having to do this. But I would recommend doing this anyway, and what I mean by that is, when you get everything on, I wouldn't recommend putting the adhesive strips on immediately, because you would, in theory, have to take it apart if something went wrong again. So I would recommend putting some duct tape on. Not all this, because this is like semi-permanent. What I mean by semi is like, it's going to be here for a bit of time until I get around to ordering some adhesive strips, so that's why there's so many. But I'll put like maybe 2 on the corners and 2 on the sides. Test what you need to test, take it off, and reapply the adhesive strips. One thing I will say is, I did not film the reassembly of this iMac, mainly because I plan on doing that in part 2. And the reason why I didn't do it here is mainly because the video was getting incredibly long. So I just decided to skip the reassembly and do it in the part 2 when we get the RAM and SSD upgrades, because I'm gonna have to take apart the entire thing for the SSD because I'm plugging it into the logic board, so I'm gonna have to take apart the entire thing. Also, I know this intro is getting kind of long, but when I put all this together, the headphone jack wasn't in, and if you don't re-plug your headphone jack, the speakers will not work, or they'll work, but they will not be recognized by macOS. So, unless you are fine with that, do not forget to plug in your headphone jack. And it's really not that hard to plug back in. It's sitting right here. You can do it without unscrewing everything. I mean, obviously the screen, but it's like sitting like right here next to the board. It's like this little tiny rectangle that plugs into the board, so it's really not that difficult if you forget to do it, but chances are you're probably gonna have to unplug your right speaker to get this video going, because this intro is getting long. So hope you enjoyed this little intro. So I've encountered a tiny little hiccup moment with this is I don't know where to plug this in. The cord isn't that long, so we have to switch areas. I'm gonna keep trying the little somethings, but I think we're gonna have to switch areas here. We got a nice extension cord donation, and what you want to do is you want to set your hairdryer to high. Mind you, it's going to be loud for the next 7 minutes, so be warned, and here we go.
Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 3DS, and Nintendo Switch, all incredible successes.
So now, once you've melted your screen, you want to take your plastic pick and go around. While we got the screen off, there's a lot of hidden adhesive that I just didn't see. So when you're pulling the screen down, actually something I should be doing is having something soft right here, such as a pillow, so the screen doesn't fall forwards on something hard in case it does fall. So pull the screen off and just look for the data cables. There's going to be 2 connected to the board. So let me show you what they look like. So here are the 2 things right here, the 2 cables you're gonna need to detach from the logic board, and you're gonna need a little tweezer. I'm gonna zoom in on it in the video, in the editing. You just need to pull that little cable up, and then this one over here. Usually the clips supposedly don't really work, so you can pull on it, but of course be careful. Don't be an idiot. So what you're going to want to do is you want to start with the speakers first. You're going to take your T10 and you're just going to get to town on unscrewing. So the speaker should just come out, but be careful. There is a cord over here connected to the power supply, so you want to kind of pull up a little bit. You're going to see this little wire right here. You want to disconnect it from the power supply. You just give it a little yank. Should come on out. As such. You're gonna want to trace the cable out going this way. You're gonna want to just disconnect it from the board. I believe it's this right here. So like I said in the beginning of the video, get containers. I got a bunch over here to organize screws. Get them, you're gonna need them. Trust me. This one, the right speaker, is going to be a bit more challenging because supposedly there's a lot more resistance with this one. So I'm going to start our unscrewing process, and hopefully we're good. We get set in stone. So there is a cord right here connecting the speaker to the board, but I can't reach it due to the way the cable is set in. So we're gonna have to be extra careful pulling this thing, or I could see if we can get the wire to sneak out a little bit. And just be careful not to damage the pre-existing board. Even though the board is already kind of done, you know, you don't want to be that, you know, destructful in here. There we go. All right, we're getting it to budge a little bit. Just again, be careful. But I don't recommend doing that. But I kind of have to because the wire's just kind of stuck. This entire thing feels stuck. I'm muting everything I said in this little clip right here because I want it to be known that do not be scared to use a little bit of force with these parts. This entire video I'm saying you gotta be real careful, and which is true, be careful. But in instances like these where it's stuck, it's just because it's never been taken apart before, so I had to use a bit of force. So if it is genuinely stuck and it's like to a point where it shows signs of coming out, but it's, you know, just stuck, put a little bit of force into it, but don't be stupid with it and don't break it. The fan is held in by 3 T10 screws, so we're going to get our container. We're going to get our base container with a little bit of white smudge right here, and I'm only pointing that out. So I remember in the video, you know, if I lose track of the screws. But
use the play button to start.
Power supply right here is what we got to be careful of. Try not to touch any of the leads on the back of the board, but there is a little connection to the logic board right here. You're gonna need to pinch it and wiggle back and forth until she comes loose. So you're gonna have to kind of, it is definitely, I can see it's a lot, very stubborn, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this thing is definitely very stubborn. This one may be a bit of a problem. All right, she's coming, and she is out. All right, so the 2 top ones are longer, and the bottom ones are shorter. So let's get another container. We're going to just keep that in mind with this.
It's this provision that you be the boss.
The power supply is connected in 2 different spots. One is down here, and the top one is right about, you can see it right there. Now I'm going to show you, obviously. But the bottom one is going to be a bit tricky to get, but you should realistically be able to get it with your screwdriver. So from this, you're going to want to pull it out from the corner up, as you can see. And take a look in there, you can see right in the corner there, there's a little connection, and then there's one right there. So the big the big connector right here has a bit of a little thing right here in the back of it. I can feel it. You're supposed to pinch it, but the problem is it's actually kind of sharp. But once you have it pinched, you gotta get some playing around with it. But you can feel it. You feel it come up. You hear that click. And then right there, you're supposed to pull it, but look, it's indenting my fingers. It's quite painful, so we're gonna try to use the screwdriver to assist us with the press. I don't think we're gonna get it at all, man. I'm actually on the iMac recording this little part right here. I'm cutting this part off the video because when I tell you it took me an hour to get this cable off, what I did was, I'm gonna show you. Well, I didn't record when I got it off because I thought it was over, but I ended up taking the hard drive out, which is recorded. Not necessary to do. I took it off because it just kept getting in my way. But in the end, the way I ended up getting this cable off the board was I ended up entirely, which you're gonna see when I unscrew the board, I ended up unscrewing the board, pulling the board out, and then just toying around with it then, and eventually I got it to budge. If it does not come with your fingers, use needle nose pliers, or a wrench. I used a wrench to get it. Yeah, it was not fun, I'll tell you that. But it eventually got it, and my fingertips are bruised, so be warned going into that. So we're changing this up a bit. Remove the hard drive first, because the hard drive is getting in my way of getting to this power supply cleanly. So you're gonna pull this little rectangle all the way up. You take your T10, T10, and start unscrewing the hard drive.
Now I'd like to show you some of the valuable things your MCA distribution system lets you do. Most persons find it more convenient. Gently pull up as you press down on the center shaft with your thumb. You'll hear a click.
At this point, we've come to brute force wouldn't work, so we're gonna have to play this a bit smarter and we gotta undo the logic board. So the logic board is 6 basic screws, T10 screws, and we're just going to carry on. We're gonna eventually definitely need to have this power supply out at one point or another.
Simply plug one jack into this outlet. How about that? Pretty easy, isn't it?
So before we move any further, we should unhook all these cables. So we have a tiny data cable over here that we're going to need our tweezers for. In the meantime though, you can unplug the little audio in port down here in the bottom right. It's connected to the thing. So we gotta look for our tweezers now. There they are. Little tiny data cable up here that we just need to pull up, pretty much. So there's a mini hidden cable up here next to these connectors right here that you just you can pull out, but again, as with everything, be careful. Alright, so now you just unplug these as such. Now these are all out. Now make sure you know which order they came in. We have a bit of a stubborn cable right here. No, we don't, never mind. We got it out. I'm all for challenging projects, you know. There we go. Data cable's out. So now you can carry on with the unscrewable process. It is the T10 you're supposed to fit in here. I believe we got it. I was screwing around with it, trying to figure out why it wasn't going. But if you need a light to see, stick it up on the top and just do your thing. Then there's two screws up here that you're gonna want to remove. It's on top of the fan. So again, these things are gonna be a bit stubborn if this is especially the first time taking the thing apart, and this is clearly the first time this thing's been ever taken apart. So everything is still kind of taped together. Don't be afraid to pull on the wires a little bit, but replace or take out both of the screws.
This red light comes on. Simply press stop.
So now we're gonna need our T20 for a post right here, right where the logic board or the hard drive was. It's right below the logic board, right here on the left side. So it's right above the power supply. So you're gonna need your T20 and you just want to unscrew the post. It's in there. Gotta get it out though. So we got the board out. I didn't actually unscrew anything more. After the post, I realized that everything was out. I got everything out. So I just pulled out, and I didn't expect it to. This thing is filthy. When I mean filthy, this thing is absolutely disgusting. So we're gonna do a little bit of a restoration on this fella. Look at all those dust bunnies, and God knows what else. So, I mean, all over the old board anyway, you can see all this dust, and the power supply kind of got dusted on my little pillow, but you could see the crevices, and I don't have any compressed air, so we're gonna have to do this a special way. But you know, dust all over where the fans sit. I mean, we got a lot of dust everywhere that we're gonna clean off. So let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so we have everything patched up. We got the tape around the thing. We're gonna fire it up and see if it blows up, turns on, or even works. So the problem with this iMac was it sat on the Apple logo because the GPU was dead. So let's see. Oh, for a second I thought we didn't get anywhere. Let's see. Oh, an Apple logo. That's good. Because this iMac went from sitting on the Apple logo with nothing to a white screen. So hopefully, whatever this is, it works. Because this is like the dreaded Apple logo screen for me with this computer. And we have life. So what you do, what are these? There are, what the, okay, I don't know what that is, but so what you would do from here is you would go to disk utility, go to Macintosh HD and erase it. But I'm going to do that off camera because we got a long process to go. So we have the Mac up and running. Everything works fine. I can't say this was a failure. This was a success, a massive success. So, yeah, we got everything running and she works. This computer hasn't seen the light of day since January. So it's good that we got her running. Everything works. I was doing some stuff for Joe the Best Wrestling TV. But yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you in part 2 whenever that is.